This is Bloomberg Crypto, a daily Bloomberg iHeart podcast. And I'm Stacey Marie Ishmael, managing editor of crypto for Bloomberg News. It's Friday, September 2nd.
I'm Anna Irrera, a senior crypto editor for Bloomberg News, in today for Stacey Marie Ishmael. If you're a fan of the Chelsea football team, then you might have already spotted a curious little whale on the sleeves of Raheem Sterling and his teammates. This unassuming logo is part of a £20 million a year deal between the football club and the cryptocurrency platform Whalefin. And it's a big departure from previous sponsor Hyundai, whose branding marked the official uniform for years. Crypto companies have spent more than $2 billion on sports advertising around the world. The NBA, Major League Baseball, Formula One, even the Drone Racing League has its own crypto sponsor. But in a market downturn, how long will these big investments in sports sponsorships last? And can they persevere through the crypto winter? Today, I'm joined by Bloomberg reporter Kim Bhasin.
The aggression that they're showing to compete with everyone else, they want to be seen on the same level.
To discuss the return on investment on crypto advertising. Hi, Kim. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
So start by giving us an overview. What's going on with crypto companies in sports?
Yeah, so crypto companies have committed $2.4 billion or more on sports marketing just over the past 18 months. So that's all kinds of crypto or blockchain related companies and all across sports globally. It's been this avalanche of spending that's entered all kinds of sports leagues across the world. And this is especially interesting for these leagues because it's additive. This is new money for them. It's all additive to their existing sponsorships.
So how does crypto compare to other sponsorships, other industries that sponsor sports?
Yeah, it's interesting how these industries work in sports marketing. So it's like they decide to use this as a primary path of marketing for them. So take beer, for example. Let's say a beer sponsor's contract ends. It can be replaced by a new beer sponsor, hopefully at a higher rate for the league. That's exclusive. All these crypto deals are brand new and they don't bump into anyone else. That means they can compete at the same kind of title sponsor level as everyone else. So they can be comparable, like in the NBA, for example, they're number 2. They're only behind the tech companies in the NBA in basketball.
And are they competing amongst themselves? Like, could you have 2 top crypto sponsors or not really? Has that even presented itself yet?
Well, there was a mad rush at the very beginning. 18 months ago to 2 years, we saw the first sponsorships start to trickle in. There was like Aston Martin's Formula One team and things like that, and tokens for European football teams and so on. But the big leagues, I'm sure there were fights over who gets, the NBA or Major League Baseball, and the various biggest teams in the world, like the Dallas Cowboys in American football, Manchester United in England. These are coveted properties that the crypto firms want to get involved with.
Are they more aggressive than other industries? Like, what are the differences you've seen between crypto and say, like, the alcohol industry or the tobacco industry, if that's still a sponsorship that's considered viable?
Yeah, tobacco's funny. It's been a couple decades since they played sort of this role of benefactor, and that's what crypto's doing right now. If you look back a couple decades in Formula One, for example, tobacco decided this is our thing. We're going to spend a whole bunch of money on this. And you saw the cars and racetracks just full of this tobacco branding. Now, crypto has decided this is what we're going to do. This is the way we're going to acquire new users. So we're going to just cover stuff in this. And in F1 in particular, like Crypto.com has its own sponsored race, the one in Miami. The aggression that they're showing to compete with everyone else, they want to be seen on the same level as those other industries, and this is how they're going to do it.
And they're quite new, right, compared to the others.
Totally brand new, just out of virtually nowhere. $2.4 billion has just arrived for leagues, athletes, teams, and so on.
So has any sport been more receptive than others, you think?
Yes, absolutely. I think most have become okay with this new industry swooping in, but the last biggest holdout is the National Football League, the biggest sport in the U.S. And it's an enormous prize because they're normally very slow in allowing these new industries in. The prior ones that they've only recently allowed to advertise and sponsor NFL things is the sports gambling industry and liquor. They did not allow spirits advertising until just a few years ago. So they're generally reticent for new things, but slowly they've been opening up. So now restrictions are loosening on what teams are and aren't allowed to do with crypto sponsorships. And we're seeing a few deals trickle in.
So at the same time, we've seen NFL players getting involved, right? Getting sponsorships. We saw Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. So what's the difference there?
We just reported that Dak Prescott, he's the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. He signed a multi-year endorsement deal with blockchain.com. Now, they already have a sponsor relationship with the Cowboys. It's the first of its kind, but most of the NFL teams and the league itself, that's all still wide open. That means there's a lot to pick from as the rules loosen up.
So some listeners might remember seeing crypto ads during the Super Bowl. So has it paid off? Because those are pretty expensive. Is there a sense of whether it's worth spending all this money?
It just depends on your definition of worth it, right? Because it feels like they're using any means necessary. The way we get more users than everyone else is to spend all this money on marketing, and because it's such a competitive environment right now in user acquisition, this is what it's going to take. And if FTX and Crypto.com as two of the, and Coinbase as three of the larger spenders in this space look at it, like this is, if they're doing it, then we probably have to do it too. That kind of marketing spend is something they could afford, at least until recently.
So the Staples Center, which is where the Lakers and the Clippers play, was renamed the Crypto.com Arena. Is it too soon to say whether we'll get the same in a big NFL stadium?
Crypto.com is the title sponsor for a ton of stuff right now. So they have the UFC, Formula One. It's about to be a big sponsor at the World Cup in Doha this fall. But the one that really caught the attention of the American public in particular was the deal to rename the Staples Center where the LA Lakers and Clippers play. And that's a $700 million deal over 20 years. And that arena had so much history in it over the past couple decades with Kobe and Shaq and all the championships.
The Lakers repeat back-to-back titles.
Culturally iconic things happened there. When people heard it wasn't going to be called the Staples Center anymore, they freaked out. That was the fans, the players made comments about it, the coaches. It's a big change. And I don't know if we're going to, inevitably, there's probably going to be some other stadiums that go this route. There's so many banks that are title sponsors of stadiums. So, it seems inevitable.
Up next, more with Bloomberg reporter Kim Bhasin on how crypto sponsorships have been met with both open arms and hesitation in a tale of two footballs. So let's move to soccer, and I will only say soccer these two times before anybody on the other side of the word will cringe. But so we've seen sort of a big spending from crypto there too. Why is that?
You're seeing some spending there even now, even in the last couple months after the crash. Like there are new deals worth millions with English Premier League teams. Everton, Manchester City signed extended one of its deals to its like practice squad uniforms. So everything is just getting blanketed. A lot of the teams also have tokens now. It has definitely slowed down, but it doesn't appear to be stopping.
So some companies have opted to sponsor football players directly, right? Like Cristiano Ronaldo has a sponsorship with Binance. Why would they go down that route? And like, how does that potentially clash with the club sponsorship, right? Like, could that instance ever arise where you're like, have two competitors sponsoring?
Yeah, the superstar players are, brands and businesses in their own right. On the platform's side, you want to have not just like a pitch person, but someone who can really carry your whole brand forward. And if you're working with someone the magnitude of Cristiano Ronaldo or Tom Brady in the US, then you're hoping that that'll push you along. In terms of whether they bump up against each other, I haven't seen it yet, so I'm not quite sure. A lot of times we're saying the word crypto in a very broad sense, in that, you know, the platforms and then like the NFT services and so on, they're not directly competing with each other a lot. And these exclusivity agreements may allow them to coexist. But since this is all so totally brand new, I guess we'll just have to see.
You know, prices have been crashing. You were alluding to this before. My first question around this is, do, you know, athletes still want to be associated with it? Is the appeal of big cash persuasive enough? Like, has there been any change of mind recently or not really?
If there's money in it for them, they're going to be attracted to it. So as long as there's something interesting to endorse, like we're going to keep, and they have the money to spend and they are willing to spend those marketing dollars on sports, then we're going to keep seeing these deals, I think. What we saw over the past month is TV spend on crypto sports ads just totally dipped super far, almost to nothing. And you had ads with Tom Brady for FTX. You had ads with Matt Damon for Crypto.com, all just get taken off the air, at least for now. But Dak Prescott's about to be on the air for blockchain. So we'll see. It's going to keep coming.
And what about these deals with companies, right? Like, do you have any sense of whether they paid for them already? Like, are there any risks that someone might not be able to pay up? We saw, I think, in Italy, there was, a rumor. I don't know if it's an actual story yet, but I think there was issues with one club and in the UK as well, where one of their sponsors wasn't able to pay. Like, will we see more of that?
A lot of these are very long-term deals. So, you know, the Staples Center, Crypto.com Arena one is 20 years, for example. Some of them are 2, 3, 5. So these are annual payments that are locked in for so long. So if anything happens, but that's same with all sponsors. They sign up for 1 year or several years, and it becomes an annual payment. But in this case, we have seen a couple things go under. I believe the NWSL, that's the National Women's Soccer League in the U.S., one of its sponsors went under, and they were supposed to have... Voyager went under, yeah. And they were supposed to have payments out to the players that they warned may or may not still go through. And obviously, long-term, I don't think that relationship is going to continue.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Kim.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
You can find more of Kim's reporting on the Bloomberg terminal, on Bloomberg.com, and on Twitter. Kim is at KIMBHASIN. I'm Anna Irrera, Bloomberg Crypto Senior Editor, in today for Stacey Marie Ishmael.
On the next episode of Bloomberg Crypto, by some estimates, crypto hacks in 2022 have cost the industry close to $2 billion. That's billion with a B. What could a hack-resistant crypto industry look like? And what's taking so long? This is Bloomberg Crypto, a daily podcast from Bloomberg and iHeartRadio. For more shows from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Send us your comments, questions, or suggestions for the show to crypto@bloomberg.net. Or find us on Twitter, we're @crypto. The supervising producer of Bloomberg Crypto is Vicky Vergolina. Our senior producer is Janet Babin. Our producer is Mohammed Farouk. Associate producer is Moses Undum. Associate producer is Ty Butler. Desta Wonderad is our engineer. Original music by Leo Sidran. I'm Stacey Marie Ishmael. Have a great weekend.